dated my first boyfriend at the age of 14 for hours were now like 2 fried eggs that had slid to the edge of the frying pan and landed somewhere in the middle of my body. My stomach looked like 3 large scoops of maple walnut ice cream with the nuts puckering through my skin. Each one of my thighs appeared to be a waffle cone, holding up the ice cream, narrowing down to my pudgy knees that were creased with dimples and giving the effect that they were somehow smiling at me. I was being mocked by my knees, because not only was I old, I was fat. But just how fat? I hadn't weighed myself in years. I nudged the scale with my big toe from the dusty corner of the bathroom into the square of light streaming through the window onto the tiles. I had to use my foot because I had trouble bending over, what with the wobbly jello around my belly getting in the way. That was my first clue that the verdict was going to be very bad indeed. I stared straight ahead as I stood on the scale and didn't look down until all the mechanical whirring had stopped. I wasn't cheered by the length of time this took. But finally the scale was silent, and I steeled myself to look at the damage. I tilted my head and forced my eyes to focus on the numbers. Fuck! I weighed more than I did when I was 9 months pregnant with my 4th child. 163 pounds, and I was only 5 feet 2 inches tall? Holy shit! Maybe if I cut my shoulder-length brown hair into a cute pixie, I would lose a pound. Maybe if I dyed it blonde, I would lose another. Did blonde hair weigh less than brown? It looked like it might. Lighter, somehow. How much did a brain weigh, anyway? Maybe a frontal lobotomy would help this situation. Would I even miss my mind? I already did. What a mess. What was I doing to myself? This was so awful. I perched my ample bottom on the edge of the tub and rested my head in my sausage fingers. Shaking sighs escaped my lips. A single tear slid down my swollen cheek. And then, finally, deep sobs racked my body. At last, for the first time in 6 years, I cried. I didn't get the bag of potato chips from the top shelf of the cupboard. I didn't stuff handfuls of popcorn into my gob. I didn't lick the sticky crumbs off the serving platter that had previously held that delicious carrot cake. I simply cried and cried. Everything in my life was gone. My husband, the love of my life, well, at least some of the time, had shockingly died in a car accident when I was 49, 6 years ago, leaving me with 4 kids, a whopping mortgage with no insurance on it, and 6, count 'em, 6 pets, a hamster, a mouse, a newt, a dog, a bird, and a single fish. Over the years, the sharp stab of acute grief had dulled to a low and constant throb, which seemed to abate only when I was busily moving my hand to my mouth, either with spoonfuls of something sweet during the day, or numerous drinks late at night. Oh God, the wine. I was a lush. When had the heavy drinking started? Let's not kid ourselves, I knew exactly when. It was when the fish died 2 days after Trevor's accident. I remembered this specific date because of the irony. The fish died, I drank like a fish. I gulped for air. Not only am I old and fat, I'm an alcoholic as well. A new round of fresh sobs shook my dumpling shoulders. Over the past 6 years, the children had all graduated from university, amazingly, and moved out, also amazingly. Each one having partners, all of the opposite sex, how novel, and all sporting tattoos. 5 of the animals were now dead, with only cute little Lucky left, constantly, irritatingly, barking for food. Like master, like dog? For the past 2 years, I had rattled around the enormous house all by myself, doing my job for the newspaper, eating and drinking. Sure, I had lots of friends, but it always came down to the same situation every night. I was old, fat, an alcoholic, and totally alone. There was no one in the house but me.